Hello and welcome to day 7 of Inktober Tangles challenge. Day number 7 brings us another tangle by Zentangle, so by the headquarters, and the name is Rambles. Now this might be a little tricky if you are doing it for the first time. It's basically an image of a ribbon that folds, and I really like it. I will start it right here, and then I will add these lines. When I come here, of course, I will not draw over my N. I will go down right to this bottom part. So you see what I'm doing? Very organically, very fearlessly, just adding this kind of a curved line, and then from that line I will draw these more or less straight lines from the very edge on both sides of the ribbon, going towards the same direction, which is towards me, towards the bottom, but it could be towards the top as well. And then I will add an aura line. So I'm just following the shape of the line above and drawing the same thing. And I have a ribbon going right here, so I want to do the same. And here I will just imagine that it goes. And you can see how we have this image of a ribbon that you see the front and then the back and then the front and then the back again. And finally, it ends with a something like this. This might not be the best like depiction of what would happen here, but it's just fine. It's not supposed to look perfect, and I will keep it as it is. And now, to embellish it, to shade it, to highlight it, I will try to establish what is like the top part of it and what is the bottom part of it, if that makes sense. So let's see. I will call this part the top. So each second part, you know, as it folds, so then it turns, it folds, and then again I have the same side of the ribbon shown here, then again the opposite side, then the same side of the ribbon and the opposite, and finally the same. And now what to do with the opposite part? That is a question. You can do whatever you want. You can like take a gray pen and add some texture to it, or take black pen and again add any texture to it. It can be a little bit different than the front. I prefer it to be a little bit different. I think I might give it a little bit of texture, but I don't want it to be as dark and as bold as the main lines that shape the ribbon are. So I'm going to go with these interrupted lines again, just to add a little bit of texture, to make it a little bit more visually appealing and interesting. So I'm not strategizing anything in terms of what is this representing or whatever. And of course, if you have any other idea, you could use a tangle in it. You could use some filler, whatever filler or whatever tangle or whatever you prefer. There are no rules. And now what about the front side? I don't know if you want to add something. I think I will just add a zigzag line, because remember, we will shade and highlight this. So it's more like some pattern, very easy. It can be very easy, that fills each side of this ribbon that constructs the Rambles tangle. And once you are done with that, you can start with shading. So of course you want to add shading wherever the one part of a ribbon is hidden behind the other part. Because I have this very small fraction, I'm trying to find my my pen, little fraction of the background here, I'm inking it in, so I'm trying not to overcomplicate things. And I'm adding a little bit of rounding between the tangles. And then I want to add the shades. And I will add shades below the tangle. So wherever I have a ribbon, I will add some shade, and also, of course, because I want this letter to appear like it's placed on top of everything. Here I'm adding shades. And of course I will also add shades wherever there is a fold. So here, and I could strategize here and do only, you know, the bottom part of it. But I am simplifying, and I'm not trying to imagine what it would look like if it really, you know, the sun was coming from this or that part. At least not now, at least not for this purpose. And let's go and blend those shades. I will first blend some of them, and then I will rotate my tile and blend the others. And then I will take a look at it and see what it looks like and what else it needs. I think I will, you know, with my blending stump, which is kind of smudged with the graphite, I'm adding a little bit of graphite on top of this back part of the tangle, so where I have this texture. Let's see. It does look a little bit more 3D than it did before. And of course, I do want to add some highlight to this top part. But some of my top parts even are hidden behind the fox. And this is where I didn't add any shades, and I should have. I'm thinking maybe even here, like it could contribute to the image of a folded ribbon on the edge. Let's see. So I'm blending it away from this part. I'll add a little bit white right here. Not sure if it worked. And then maybe just a little bit of the white on this bottom part of the ribbon. Again, I'm just playing, experimenting with it. Sometimes it's difficult to explain why I do the things that I do, because, you know, I'm not an artist by profession, or an architect or whatever. I just base what I do mostly on my feelings, and it might not be like technically correct. So the logical way of explaining what I do, or technical way of why I applied shades in a certain way, might not really work. Now I'm thinking about the rest of this style, and clearly there's some space here and here, and I'm thinking about maybe leaving it blank. And I sometimes have problems with leaving blank spaces on my tiles, but I can work on improving that, right? And there's another tangle coming tomorrow, so maybe what I can do is see what the tangle is, add the last tangle, the fourth tangle, and then decide if I want to maybe repeat any of those tangles again. Maybe I want to repeat this fox, you never know. But maybe that's the best thing. But what I can do today is add a little highlight to the top and left part of my letter N. So let's just see and blend these highlights and try to make the letter a little bit more 3D. And I will use also my white jelly roll to kind of assist me in doing that. Because of the background, which is blue, it's water-based ink, when you apply white over it, it might pick up some of the blue from the background. So it might not be bright white. It depends on what you want. Maybe you will be happy with it. Maybe you would prefer to have those white, shiny white. But then this is not your supply. A little bit of blue to just help with this shading part, let's say. And I think that's it. That's a nice letter N. And let's do what I said. Let's stop for today and then revisit the tile with the fourth tangle of this tile and see where it takes us, and then make decisions after that. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.